Alright, moving on with the matrix operations worksheet. So that was the entire front side, solving all those equations. On this next part, you just need to do the operations. So like here, with that 3 in front, you just do 3 times all those pieces. And this -4 in front, you can do -4 times all those pieces. Or you can just do 4 times it and then subtract. I'm going to do 3 times everything inside, which is going to give me 3, -9, 15. And I'm going to distribute -4. So that's going to give me -12, +40. I don't need to put +40, just +40, and then +32. And now I just add all those pieces, the ones that correspond. So like the 3 and the -12, the -9 and 40, and the 15 and 32. Those pieces are going to add together. And that's going to give me -9, 31, and 47. Ta-da! So there's that piece. Now let's move on to 8. Basically, it's like distribution, but you multiply the matrix by the scalar out front. And I'm going to do the sign with this. Like here, I'm just going to distribute that sign everywhere through there. I'm going to distribute that 1/2 all the way through there. And I'm going to get -50, -30, 15, and 20 for my first matrix. And I'm going to get plus 35 to -15. And then I'm going to add the next piece, which is going to give me 2, -7, -10, and 6. And now I just need to add all those pieces together. And I'm running out of space, so I'm going to put it up here. -50 plus 30 plus 2. Well, that's just the same thing as 32 minus 50, which is -18. So I'm going to have -18 as my first entry. And then I have 30 plus 5 plus -7. That's the same thing as -37 plus 5, which is going to give me -32. And then the next part, 15 plus 2 plus -10. Same thing as 17 minus 10, which is just 7. And then I got 20 plus -15 plus 6. And that's the same thing as 26 minus 15, which is just 11. And there's my matrix. Ta-da! And then moving on to 9. Again, you can... This is like distribution, but like inside distribution. So if you do that -2 right here, you can just do -2 times everything, but you can also just take your matrices, add them together, and then times by the -2. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do -2, add my matrices, and then times everything by the -2 at the end there. So 2 plus -11 is going to give me -9. 6 plus 7 is going to give me 13. 3 plus -5 is going to give me -2. And then 2 plus -13 is -15. And now that I have that, I'm going to take this -2 and times by everything that's inside that matrix there. And that'll give me 18 positive, -26, +4, and +30. And there's my resulting matrix. Moving on to 10, again, I can do the subtraction part of this first and then times everything by the -4. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put -4 out front and do some massive subtraction here. I got 3y minus 8. That's just 3y minus 8. And then I got -2 minus 10. That's the same thing as -2x minus 10. Sorry, I forgot the x part. Next part, I got -11 minus 3m. Notice how these don't not come. Alright, something that actually combines. So 0 minus 12 is going to give me -12. Next piece, 2 minus 4 is going to give me -2. And then 5z minus 6 is just going to give me 5z minus 6. And now I can take this -4 and times by everything that's inside there. And when you have it in a situation like this, it's like double distribution. You have to do like -4 times 3y minus 8 in parentheses, so like that. So that's what I mean by double distribution. So -4 times 3y is going to give me -12y, and then -4 times the -8 is going to give me +32. So there's my first entry. Second entry, just -4 times that piece there, which is going to be +8x and +40. And then -4 times the next piece there, that's going to give me 44 positive, plus 12m. Man, my m's are not very good. And then -4 times the -12 is going to give me +48. -4 times the -2 is going to be +8. And then the -4 times 5x minus 6 is going to give me -20z, sorry, why did I say x? Plus 24. And that is my resulting matrix. So there's that bit. Moving on to 11, and this is a really stinking huge equation. Why did I do this to myself? Why did I do this to you guys? I'm sorry. Anyway, so we got a huge old equation here. Let's do the distribution part first. Let's just distribute those pieces, and then we can write our equations that help us get our variables. And I'll do 3 times that entire matrix there. That'll give me 18x, -6, -15. That's a 15. And then I'll get -3, 12w, and 9. And then the next part, I'm just going to make everything, distribute the negative with it so I can do plus instead. I can get -10, -8m, that's an m, man, my m's are horrible on this design, and then +18, -20n, +12, and then -6a. So there's that, and then my right side is still this piece there. So now I have things distributed, I can start writing my equations. 8x plus -10 is going to equal 26. So 18x plus -10 is going to equal 26. And then my next equation has the -6, -8m, all going to add up to give me 18. Man, my m's, it's going to equal 18. And then my next equation, -15 plus 18, is going to equal the -3y part there. I'm going to give myself a little bit of room. -15 plus 18 is going to equal -3y. And then my next equation I'm going to put just on the next slide here. Alright, so my next equation is going to come from these pieces here. -3 plus -20n is going to equal 17. So -3, and I'll write that in just a little bit. The next piece comes from 12w plus 12 is going to equal 12. And then 9 plus -6a is going to equal 12a. So that's where my equations are going to be on my next slide. Alright, so I finally have all my equations. I just need to solve them now. I'm just going to take this first one and go at it. I'm going to need to add 10 to both sides to give me 18x equals 36. Divide both sides by what's in front of x to get rid of what's in front of x. And I'll get x equals 2. On my next equation, I'm going to add 6 to both sides to get -8m equals 24, and divide both sides by that -8 in front of the m to get m equals -3. And on my next one, I'm just going to combine, simplify here on the left side to get 3, on the right side I get -3y, divide both sides by that -3, and I'll get -1 equals y, or y equals -1. I'm moving on to my next one. I'm going to add 3 to both sides to get -20n equals 20, and divide both sides by -20, and that'll give me n equals -1. On my next one, I can subtract 12 from both sides to get 12w equals 0. 12 minus 12 is 0. And divide both sides by the 12 to get w equaling 0, because 0 divided by 12 is just 0. And on my next part, I'm going to add 6a to both sides to get 9 equals 18a, and just divide both sides by 18. 9 divided by 18 is the same thing as 1/2. And there we go. Now I have all my variables, and that brings us to 12. And I really want to put this on just one video, so let me pause this real quick. Alright, so what you see now is me taking the number in front of the matrix and timesing everything in the matrix by what's in front. And this is what you'll get. You get these matrices right here, and now I can actually use these to write my equations. So negative 8 plus 4a is going to equal 12. 12b plus 12 is going to equal 16. 2b plus 12 equals 16. I'll have negative 2 plus negative 8 is going to equal negative 2c. And the last part, negative 3 plus 4m is going to equal negative 2m. So I'm going to write those out real quick. So there we go. I've written them all out, and I just need to solve them all. I'm going to take, on this first one, add 8 to both sides to get 4a equals 20, and divide both sides by the 4. You get a equals 5. On my next one, I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides to get 2b equals 4, and divide both sides by 2 to get b equals 2. And on my next one, I'm just going to combine like terms there, simplify a little bit to get negative 10. On the right side I have negative 2c. Divide both sides by that negative 2. And you'll get c equals 5, positive. And on my last one, I'm going to subtract 4m from both sides to get negative 3 equals negative 6m. And divide both sides by that negative 6. And you'll get m equals positive 1/2. And that's the whole assignment.